Hi, and welcome to a brand new episode of our interview series with poets and friends of the European Poetry Festival. My name is Richard Ettinger, and as a student for English literature and philosophy, I'm deeply interested in creative writing, English literature, and poetry. Welcome with me, our today's guest, Katerina Koulouri. Hi, how are you doing, Katerina?
Hi, I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Sure, thanks for taking part. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. Some words about Katerina. She's based in London and a European translator and poet. She grew up in Athens and has lived in Montpellier, where she studied wine and modern literature. She later emigrated to London to work in publishing. She has worked in the book industry ever since. She also holds an MA in creative writing from Kingston University, London. Katerina writes in Greek and English. Her visual poems have appeared in numerous visual literature exhibitions by the Writers Kingston in London, and she has performed work individually and in collaborations for the European Poetry Festival. She has translated several poets from Greek in the last few years and has worked with Versopolis and their open letter to the European Initiative translating into Greek. Katerina, I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the interview questions.
Sure.
So, first question, just to make it easy, have some fun. An item you absolutely must take with you when you travel. What is it?
One item after the passport, my keys, and my phone would be always have a little notebook with me just to scribble down notes. I call it like my travel notebook. So it's tiny, and I have had a few over the years, so it always comes with me.
Well, interesting. That's actually a common answer to that question. We had
well, yeah, I imagine so.
So you stayed analog. You don't do like a digital scribbling, or how does it work with you? Is it more like the connection with the handwriting? How does it work with you?
It's actually both now. But I prefer having something like a paper and pen for that first draft, and to take notes, or like put down some thoughts and see, maybe I can use them, maybe not. If I don't have that, then my next thing to go to is my phone, so I'll just have notes, right there. But I tend to find piece of paper. It could be like a ticket, or anything I can write on.
Sure.
So I guess I should have added notebook and a pen as well.
Just to collect ideas, and then when you have time, you will read it down
Yeah, it could be things that while traveling, something you may see and it could be intriguing or interesting, and you want to just capture the moment. Or it could be something a bit longer, like some thoughts about a place, or something I saw and it was interesting. It could be anything. Yeah.
And a follow-up question to that: if you don't write it down like immediately, do you think it's maybe lost, or how does it work with you?
Yeah, I've tried in the past. Sometimes I've woke in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I just thought of something that's brilliant and I have to write it down. And if I don't, because I don't know, I'm too sleepy or whatever, I have tried to repeat it so I can remember in the morning, but it never works. So maybe because, maybe it's my memory is not that good, but I have to write it down. Otherwise, I think it's gone. Not that it matters, actually, for that respect, because that's also the link with the, I guess, performances, like reading aloud and things that are done in the moment, that you do it then, there in the present, and then the lost, and that's fine with it. Not everything has to live forever, so I quite like that aspect of it as well. Yeah. If it's meant to stay, it will stay, in a way. It's a little bit like that.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I definitely understand that, and I really like that thought, because I also write, and sometimes when I have like this particular moment, and you have the feeling it's not coming back. But on the other hand, what I always like try to remember myself, like that's something that is like so important that you think it's worth to write it down, maybe stay with you, like for will come back in a way, but it changed already. So yeah.
Actually, you're right, because even if you don't write it down and you think it's lost, it'll probably, if it's important, if there's something that you feel you have to say, it'll probably come back in another way at a different time, you know, maybe in a slightly different form, but the essence of it will probably come back at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right there.
Yeah. There's a lot that has to like interact, that something like a thought that I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you know that something comes out of it, and that I think like this small portion might stay in some way, but even if you just write it down in the moment,
the seed of it in some way, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, coming to our next question. Funniest, most awkward story about traveling?
Don't have, I don't know, it's not funny. And it's not, I guess it is awkward. It was a bit strange. So years ago, that was when I was studying in Montpellier. I decided to go and meet a friend in Strasbourg in the north of France. So I took the night train, like a sleepover train. So I think we left about midnight. I was traveling by myself. I think I had one of these sort of cabins where, you know, you have a bed, like you sleep in. I can't remember if there were other people in, probably a couple. What I do remember, though, is when we arrived in the morning, so the train had stopped and we were ready to disembark. And I opened the door, and then in front of me were passing, was a few policemen with a man in handcuffs.
Wow.
So they were taking him out of the train. I have no idea what had happened. I never found out, you know, what he was charged with. But, you know, my imagination went a bit wild, you know, like a Murder in Orient Express and all that. So I probably have traveled with, I don't know, a murderer, or maybe it was something silly, you know, I don't know. But it was quite, yeah, it was an interesting moment, actually.
Yeah, interesting. Like inspiring to another story about the Orient Express.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, you've performed at the European Poetry Festival, and you did it twice. Do you have like an experience that you can just fill in within 3 words or something? How would you describe it? Just a couple of words.
Yeah, 3 words. It's difficult, but I would say, I mean, I'm part of the European Festival since its beginning. So initially, first time I just did a solo, so I just read some of my poetry, and I've been invited back every year. And the last couple of years, it was for collaborations as well, which is the part I enjoy the most. So in 3 words, I would say it's the community. So that bonding, you know, you feel with fellow poets and people from, you know, coming across different countries to participate. And then it's joyful. It's just, there's so much pleasure and joy and silliness, you know, and that creates a really nice atmosphere. And the third, I would say, is inspirational, in the sense that inspiring and inspirational, like it's either, doesn't matter if you're part of the audience or you participating yourself and collaborations or not, but there's always something to intrigue you and your poetry as well later on. So I found a lot of inspiration following the European festivals, you know, like later on, the things I could do myself in my poetry. So yeah, I would say 3 words: community, bond, the inspirational environment, and what was the other one? The the joy. The joy that it brings.
Okay. Very interesting. So it's like a couple of days every year. That's from what I guess. And people come together, celebrate poetry, and of course international poetry. And yeah, let's just get into it. You performed also in 2022 and 2023. I want to talk first about your performance in 2023 with Patricia Farrell, which was in Liverpool. And yeah, just would you like to say something about that? How did it go for you?
So yeah, as I said, collaborations are the thing I enjoy the most. And all of them so far were with people I didn't know before. So Patricia was the same. Well-known poet, you know, established, really appreciated for her work, but I had never met her. And we're not based in the same city. So everything, we were introduced over emails, and the whole collaboration was done on email. We changed some ideas. And then the theme this year was Ukraine. So the performance we had was in Liverpool. And it happened to be around the time of Eurovision Song Contest as well. So, which was based there because it couldn't be held in Ukraine. So we decided to bring something of that element into our collaboration. So we chose the sunflower as a theme. The sunflower is the symbol of flower of Ukraine. And then we went a bit further into the sunflower and the Fibonacci code. So our poem started, it followed that pattern, so the Fibonacci number. So one of us would write something, and then the next email would be from the other person responding to that, and then we went on for a bit. And it was a very different experience, actually, because in the past, even though I hadn't met the people, we managed to meet at some respect, whether online, like, you know, face to face, but this was exclusively on email. So you couldn't really discuss any, you know, it was quite straightforward. So you have, this is my line, this is your line, and then I respond to that. There was no explanations. And I think, I mean, I did enjoy it. It pushed me a lot because Patricia's poetry and lines were amazing. And you know, it just pushed me to try to make justice to that. So yeah, at least as far as we were concerned, we did enjoy it. I hope the audience found it the same. But yeah, as I said, it's something that lives in a moment, I think. I know with digital, you know, everything is captured on video and etc. But that experience you get at the time of the performance, it's quite unique. So yeah, it was quite interesting. Yeah, collaboration, I would say.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, sure, the political situation, everybody took part in some way with it. You know, it's like something that, yeah, towards Europe in a particular direction. And coming to the content of the poem, I really like how you put the contradiction between like a blooming nature on a like soil, you know, and then like the war-torn parts, that there's no blooming, there's no prospering, that somehow the soil can't make it happen anymore. I really like those imagery. I don't know if it was your line or yeah, but
I think I don't have the whole poem here because we were trying to do something more visual.
yeah, no worries. But still, like,
but yeah. So yeah, the idea was that there was that color that was coming through, you know, the yellow, the gold, but that also, I guess, that also represents war at some extent, you know, blastings, all of that. And for my part as well, towards that period, there was another war that was starting, and that was in Sudan. And I wanted to bring a little bit of that into it as well. Not to minimize, you know, what's happening in Ukraine, but just to, I guess, say something about, you know, it's never ending, you know, it's happening everywhere, all the time. And this is not unique, but it's something we should sort of maybe be more aware of. Because it wasn't at the media that much at the time, you know, it was just beginnings of it. Yeah. But yeah, it was probably that line you mentioned was probably Patricia's. I can't remember, but yeah, it definitely challenged me. It definitely challenged me. Yeah.
I think the theme was like a little bit also in that direction. So, but I really liked it. We don't have much time left, but let's talk about your 2022 performance with Madelaine Culver in York, which was a very, very interesting performance where the audience could interact. Would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, that was another thing. That's why I like collaborations, because they push you towards things you didn't expect you would do. So Maddie is studying film, and we decided to take that a review. Well, actually, I think it was a couple of reviews from horror movies with a female protagonist. And we worked up poems based on these reviews, and we wanted to have a dialogue with each other. So each one created a poem. And we spoke to each other, but we wanted to bring that audience into it as well. Like we want to make it a little bit more interactive, without having too much structure at the same time. And the idea was to, again, to create something unique in that moment that you cannot replicate later. You know, everyone reads at their own pace. So if you watch the video, you know, people say the same word a little bit apart. But that's what we liked about it. There was a bit of a chaotic element of it, that, you know, everyone brings something new. And this was a unique performance. So yeah, we had really fun with this. With Maddie, was one of these people that we had our first video call just to talk and discuss ideas. And within 5 minutes, I think we had a theme and we knew what we were going to do. And we were almost finishing each other sentences. It was really amazing. Yeah.
Sounds like a good experience. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I think we both enjoyed. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but for me, it was really fun. The whole process and the evening as well. Yeah.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I was watching it. I mean, if anybody wants, it's on Steve J. Fowler's YouTube channel, and you can rewatch it. And in the end, you just see like the whole audience just, you know, performing the poem, being interactive. And I really like those because you becoming a part of it. You know, usually you just sit there, you watch the people speak, the people perform, the artist, which is definitely the sense of it. You know, that's what it is about. See an artist to perform. But if there's like any way to bring the audience inside, you know, make it interactive, it's always like an remembering experience. So I like
it. Was a little bit more playful, I would say, and yeah, interactive. I come from like I used to say that, poetry, I used to think that poetry is like only on page. And for me, that was like taking these steps, baby steps. But I really enjoy it. It's a little bit, I'm out of my comfort zone sometimes with this, but I definitely enjoy them. And when you see people interactive and enjoying as well, that's what really matters at the end.
Yeah, definitely. I guess so. Let's have one more question and then the final one. You do write in Greek as well. So I would like to know, what is like the main difference for you writing poetry in your mother's tongue or in the foreign, not your mother tongue, in English? How does it is? How is it for you? Yeah.
Well, it's different, and it was when I started writing in English. It was when I came to do my master's here. It was creative writing and poetry, and maybe it was a bit of cheating, I don't know, but I started by translating my Greek poems into English until I felt quite confident and comfortable in, sharing a work in English. And the interesting thing that happened was that if you compare the Greek original, someone who speaks both languages, I should say, compares the Greek version to the final English one, they were very different. They were probably about different things at some respect. You would say visually were different. The rhythm was different. Sometimes the subject, the theme will be different. And I think that's the essence of me, like writing in different languages. Every language brings something different out of me. I guess there's more introspection when I write in Greek. So it's like I'm really in connection with myself and my experiences, and that's what I try to bring out. And sometimes I'm maybe too close to it. So English gives me that distance, and I'm able to observe a bit different. So yeah, it's like it's also writing about things that are outside of me more when I write in English. So I guess, yeah, if I decide to write something, the language will come next. So it will depend on what I want to do, how I want to do it, the environment I'm in, the mood. And then I'll pick the right language, which in a way is the medium to express what I want to do. Saying that, this is quite confusing sometimes because you in between languages and you feel lost sometimes. I'm always trying to find the right word, but there's a lot of experimentation coming through that, and it is a journey. It's like a dialogue with yourself, but in different languages, and every side of you says something different, and you try to find the right path.
Yeah.
And also, I guess because its language has, yeah.
Just a second before the conversation breaks off, because I see we have only 1 minute left. Yeah, sure. Would you just have something you would like to plug? I love what you said. We could continue that for a long time, but is there something else coming out? People can see you somewhere. Just you can kick it out right now.
Well, I'll probably do something in November, but I don't have the details yet. And I want to do more visual stuff as well, collaborations.
Okay. What about your website, or where can people see your social media?
Oh, no, you can't find me online. You have to come and see me.
Go and see Katerina, because that's the only way you will see her art, and that's important.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much, Katerina, and see you soon. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Richard. Thanks for the opportunity. Bye-bye.
Bye.